Welcome back to a multidimensional approach to meet 21st century retailing education and industry challenges for India and the United States. This tutorial will explore retail entrepreneurship in small, non-urban markets from an Indian perspective. It was prepared for you by Dr. Linda Neem of Iowa State University and Mr. Swispa Roy of the National Institute of Fashion Technology in India. It is narrated by Danielle Sponder-Testa of Iowa State University. This tutorial will begin by exploring definitions and meaning of small business and entrepreneurship in India. It will then explore contributions of small independent retailers to local community markets. Operational and competitive strategies for small business success and sustainability in both rural and urban areas will then be explored, and examples will be provided in the Indian context. Finally, the module will address understanding retailer and community interdependence from a community capital's perspective. These module topics will go in the order listed on this slide. Feel free to pause this presentation at any time to review your notes. Also, feel free to take the module in one topic at a time. Within India, rural refers to a community with less than 5,000 people and population density lower than 400 people per square kilometer. Additionally, at least 75% of the male population in these areas is engaged in agricultural activities. 70% of India's population lives in rural areas. India's total population as of the 2011 census was 1.2 million people. Other population classifications in India include semi-urban, which ranges from 5,000 to 100,000 people, and urban centers, which spans to just under 1 million people, and finally metropolitan centers, which have more than 1 million people. Let's talk about the Indian retail industry. India is the 5th largest retail market in the world. The Indian retail market size stands at $600 billion US. There are a variety of different types of retailers within the Indian retail industry, including hats, mandis, and melas, which still continue to be present in most parts of the country, especially in rural areas. Kirana stores, which for those more familiar with American retailing are similar to mom-and-pop stores or pop-up stores, dominate the retail landscape in rural areas. However, made-to-measure and tailoring is still prevalent within the Indian retail industry. India currently has more than 48 million small businesses. Micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs, contribute nearly 8% of the country's GDP and 45% of the country's manufacturing outputs. Additionally, they are responsible for 40% of the country's total exports. Small businesses in India create 1.3 million jobs every year and provide the largest share of employment after agriculture. As you can see on the key on the bottom of this image, this map represents the number of MSMEs in each state of India. Here's some additional information on micro, small, and medium enterprises in India for your review. Let's talk some more about the structure of the retail market in India. 21% of the retail market in India is organized, while 79% is unorganized retail. Now let's keep in mind unorganized retail includes a large number of small retailers that consist of local kirana shops, which are the mom and pop type stores we talked about previously, as well as footwear shops, apparel shops, local bitaf leaf and tobacco shops, hand cart hawkers, pavement vendors, and so on and so forth. This accounts for the majority of retailers in India. The other 21% is organized retailers, which comprise of trading activities undertaken by licensed retailers who are registered for sales tax, income tax, and so forth. These are the type of retailers you picture within the traditional mall environment. On this slide, you can see an image of a fabric sourcing shop and a made-to-order shop, both smaller retail shops in India. In this slide, we have an image of a kirana and a handicraft shop. This slide shows a high street apparel store and a roadside clothing shop. This slide shows a small local jewelry store and a small local footwear store. Finally, here we have larger traditional retailers that you may think of in the United States, such as Select City Walk Mall and Emporio Mall in New Delhi. Let's move on to consider the contributions of small independent retailers to the local community markets. Small retailers are privately owned businesses with fewer employees than large businesses and have less revenue than a large retailer. Large retailers account for less than 1% of all retailers, while medium businesses account for 2.9%. 97% of all businesses are classified as small. Within this, 61.9% of businesses are non-employing businesses, while 25.3% are micro, which have a staff of 1 to 4 employees. Small businesses, which have a staff of 5 to 19 employees, account for 9.7% of businesses. The majority of startups are sole traders, which are classified as non-employing businesses within that 61.9% of small businesses. Many types of retailers can be classified as small businesses. They include fruit and vegetable sellers, food stores such as bakery stores or dairy and processed food and beverage shops, non-vegetable stores such as those that sell meat products, kiranas such as mom and pop stores or ones that sell bakery and dairy products, or kiranas that sell additional processed products. Additional small retailers might sell apparel such as men's, women's, innerwear, kids, or infant apparel, footwear, customer durables and electronics, hardwares such as door fittings or tiles, and general merchandise including lighting, stationery, toys, gifts, or crockery. Here is an image of a kirana, which is a mom and pop shop, and a handicraft shop. On this slide, you can see a high street apparel store in India and a roadside clothing store. On the previous slides, we have included classifications of different types of small business retailers in India. Here, you can see the breakdown of the portion of business that each store type accounts for. For instance, Kirana 1s account for 23% of small retailers in India, while Kirana Type 2s account for 37% of small retailers in India. The next largest contribution of small retailers in India comes from the electronics category with 16%, followed by 6% coming from apparel retailers and 5% coming from jewelry retailers. Following this, you have many types that account for 2% of small business retailing and a couple additional portions that attribute 1% of small business retailing. Small retailers play a significant role in the local economy by providing local employment and access to services. Small businesses boost employment in their region, and those employment levels influence other standard of living metrics such as disposable income. Further, employing people from the locality has a circular positive impact and helps the business by stimulating word-of-mouth advertising for the company. Small retail businesses also contribute to the economy by providing a wider range of services and amenities within the local area, such as things like entertainment choices for the local residents. Small business plays an important role in rural India. According to a National Sample Survey Organization report, between 2014 and 2015, small business enterprises accounted for 78% of employment in India. This is more than medium or large enterprises. Small businesses also contribute to their economy by contributing to local taxes and keeping money in the local economy. Businesses pay a significant portion of all taxes in India. Having more businesses boosts tax income for the local government and provides money to repair roads, develop schools, and improve public services. Further, small businesses recycle a much larger portion of their revenue back into the local economy than large businesses, which enriches the whole community. Also important for small businesses is the social role they play in their locality. Small businesses generally offer locally made products and hire people from the local community. These aspects of small business retailers favor everyone in the community. Small businesses often also act as a center for training and learning in rural communities. For instance, if the enterprise specializes in manufacturing of a certain product located in the rural area, people from the vicinity will take training there to develop their skills. Small businesses also serve as a place for residents to socialize over tea or a snack. These businesses often define our sense of community and local character. They provide uniqueness to the community and personal connections. They also help develop the locality for successful local business will generate high levels of revenue, which means the business will pay more in taxes, including local taxes, which can be used for local community development. We will now move into talking about the operational and competitive strategies for small business. In India, it's important to keep in mind the marketing mix perspective. On this slide, you have images of Mellow Mood Cafe and Trendy Affair Boutique. If you remember, Mellow Mood Cafe practices penetration pricing, while Trendy Affairs practices skimmed pricing. It's also important to consider the various product service offerings. Offering a broad, Lila Brothers provides an example of a broad selection of products, and Ohio Footwear showcases a product differentiation strategy. Another important consideration is the effective use of place. Some images of Wild Nectar Specialty Outlet are provided on the screen here. We will now move into understanding retailer and community interdependence from a community capital's perspective. Entrepreneur opportunities include breaking down bulk products into purchasable quantities. This could include allowing customers to buy one sachet of shampoo or a single candle out of a packet. It is also common for retailers to sell merchandise on credit from month to month so customers can pay for goods when they have funds available. Retailers may want to begin selling their merchandise at weekly HOTS or markets. This is where the rural population goes to replenish their weekly consumption. Retailers also serve the community by acting as a credit support system during emergencies. It's common for rural populations to turn towards retailers and entrepreneurs for financial support in exchange for cash or other form of payment during medical emergencies. A retailer also depends on the community to sustain their business. An agricultural retailer depends on agricultural commodities for his or her product assortment. And any entrepreneur's flow of money is ensured by the community in which they reside. Thank you for taking time to learn about retail entrepreneurship in the US and India. There is a second tutorial regarding retail entrepreneurship in the US and India. We hope you take time to watch that tutorial now.